Wildcat Cartridges, this week on Mail Call Mondays. Mail Call Mondays is brought to you by Modular Driven Technologies. If you need a chassis system for your precision rifle, check out mdttac.com. I'm John McQuay with 8541 Tactical, and this is Mail Call Mondays, the show that answers your questions about precision rifles, optics, and equipment. Welcome to another Mail Call Mondays, and we're not going to talk about this until the end of the video, and I will tell you why. Our question this week comes from Cameron, and Cameron asks, what is your general impression and opinion of Wildcats? With such generally accepted modifications such as the Ackley improved designs, lesser-known designers such as Gibbs, Sherman, and Allen, do you believe there's a place in the hand-loading competition world for these non-SAAMI designs? Well, Cameron, I've got two different views on it. First of all, my personal view is I don't have time for Wildcats. There are a ton of really amazing performing Wildcats out there, but for me personally, adding in the time it takes to either develop my own Wildcat, which is well outside of the time that I have, or to even take a Wildcat that is already developed, go through the process of fire forming, go through the load development process that it takes, because usually you're experimenting with a wide variety of different powders to find what works best, different shoulder angles, different bullet seating depths, all that fun stuff. So you take everything that you do with normal load development for an established SAAMI cartridge, and you go well beyond that with Wildcats. I just don't have the time and the ability. Now, as far as Wildcats in the competition world, absolutely, they are a really key component to very high-level bench rest and precision rifle competition. So if you look at just one of the big precision rifle field competition cartridges, the 6 Dasher, that is still definitely a Wildcat. You cannot buy factory-loaded Dasher ammunition from any of the major manufacturers. Dasher brass availability is very, very limited right now. So most of the guys that are shooting Dasher are fire forming 6BR brass into Dasher. Now, that's kind of interesting because 6BR in itself was a Wildcat that is a little bit further along in the progression than the 6 Dasher is. 6BR is a Wildcat of the 308 by 1.5 inch Barnes cartridge, which is a Wildcat of the 308 cartridge. So we just kind of go through this Wildcat progression, and that very often is how it works. Now, a slightly different angle on it is another very popular Wildcat that is now a mainstream cartridge in the precision rifle world is the 6mm Creedmoor. The 6mm Creedmoor is a Wildcat of the 6.5 Creedmoor. And so this is a really good example of how somebody can get a good idea, take a Wildcat and run with it, and then a major rifle builder picks that up, some guys win with it, and then it becomes a mainstream caliber pretty quickly. So, of course, the 6.5 Creedmoor was kind of a brainchild and a corporate project over at Hornady with partnership with some other companies, and that came to market as a commercial cartridge. So there were some guys that were looking at some performance. One of the writers for Outdoor Life took the 6.5 Creedmoor and did kind of a how-to on how to Wildcat, and created the 6mm Creedmoor, and it was a totally different name at that point, but for brevity's sake we're just going to call it the 6mm Creedmoor. And then George Gardner built some semi-automatic rifles that performed very, very well with the cartridge and did well in competition. And of course, what normally happens in competition is when people start to notice the front runner guys are winning with a certain setup, they want to duplicate that setup to give them the best advantage possible. So the 6mm Creedmoor gained popularity, and then at some point it came back into favor with Hornady, and Hornady is producing it as a factory cartridge now. You can actually go into the store and buy 6mm Creedmoor factory-loaded ammunition. Quite a few different manufacturers have factory 6mm Creedmoor rifles available. So it made the leap from factory cartridge to Wildcat and then back to a factory established cartridge now very quickly. And there are several other cartridges throughout the history of precision rifle that have done that, and in the hunting world as well. Here in Indiana, we have some really goofy rifle hunting laws that developed over the last few years. Originally, when I was younger, you couldn't hunt with a rifle in Indiana. It had to be a shotgun, so you couldn't deer hunt with a rifle. They progressed on to allow pistol caliber carbines, 357, 44 Magnum lever guns. You could hunt deer with those. And then they started to build these little loopholes in, and rifle manufacturers, or I shouldn't say rifle manufacturers, gunsmiths, started to build these rifles on these wildcatted cartridges that fit within the Indiana hunting rules. So they really weren't designed for ultimate long-range performance, for accuracy, and for energy. They were designed to give you the most energy and fit within a legal standpoint. So kind of a little different angle, but those definitely found a place in Indiana hunting, and even now our laws here for hunting are for public land, you still have to use these short abbreviated rifle cartridges. You can't use, say, a 300 Win Mag unless you're hunting on private property. Private property, you open up to quite a few of the standard rifle calibers that you would hunt deer with. So in closing, I just want to say that yes, I believe that there is definitely a place in PRS and NRL type competition as well as bench rest competition for Wildcats. I think they push the envelope of what we are capable of doing with smokeless powder and bullets. And then, of course, reloading has to support the wildcatting, because at the very beginning of a Wildcat's life, there is no factory support for it at all. So you have to fire for them, you have to reload, and you have to develop loads and recipes that will work the best with that load. So it's great. I just really don't have time to mess with it right now. That's why I don't even have a 6-dasher in the house, because I just really don't want to mess with fire forming brass or any of that. And until factory loaded 6-dasher is available, I don't really see the need to mess with it for me personally. Now, if I was consistently in the top 5 in precision rifle competition, you would probably see me go to something like the 6-dasher. But really, I could do better just to buy a bulk of factory ammunition and work on my skills. That would do the most improvement for me at this point in my career. So I really hope that answers your question. Now real quick, to talk about this, and I will apologize for you guys that are listening to us on the podcast. I'm not going to say what this is, because this is a little bit of a test to see what YouTube does with this video. Generally, anytime I'm holding one of these in the thumbnail or in a video, our videos get demonetized. And in this instance, I'm not really talking about it at all. It's not the subject of the video. So I want to see if this video gets demonetized. Now, I will be doing a full review of this very soon, and I will talk about this on the next Mail Call Mondays video. So you're going to have to wait for that one, and we'll see how quickly this one gets demonetized. And that's all for this Mail Call Mondays. If you guys have a question over anything we've covered, drop it in the comments section down below or send it to us on Facebook or Twitter. If you like the video, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and click that little bell icon down there to get notified when we release new videos. And as always, if you want to know how to support videos that you know and love, please check us out over on Patreon. We would love to have you over there. We're starting to post more content over there, and we are coming up soon on our next quarterly live chat. So if you want to be involved in a real-time Mail Call Mondays, then make sure you check it out over on Patreon. And until next time, get out and shoot.